What's up everybody, and welcome back to another video. This week's video is going to be another money talk with my wife Rihanna Ferriel, and this is where I send out an Instagram story. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should be, The Frugal Investor. And I ask you guys to send in your questions to me. Anything money related, finance, saving, 401ks, Roth IRAs, how to buy your first home, whatever it is, and we will do our best to answer that question for you. Now keep in mind, these are just our opinions and the strategies that we used in order to become financially free before we were 30. So it worked for us, we hope it will work for you, and we do this so hopefully we can help others reach that goal as well. So without any further ado, let's jump into the questions.
We will be giving away free prizes during this Q&A, so if your question gets asked, make sure to reach out and say what time it was asked at so you can claim your prize and we'll mail it to you.
That's right, sour strips.
Shout out sour strips, they are so good and we eat them every day. Okay, I have the questions here on John's phone. As always, this is unprompted, so he didn't read them beforehand, and I'm gonna read them to him so you can get our honest answers. Really quick, I wanted to tell you we're renovating our house that we live in right now, so it's in shambles, there's holes in the walls, the whole kitchen's torn down. So if we seem
I can't look at it.
John's not doing too good.
My anxiety is like on another level. I just don't do well living inside of a messy space. It bothers me.
Yeah, it's really bothered him more than I expected. And I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but anyways, I ordered a kombucha from this like local shop today and it came on tap. And then I drank half of it and realized it had like a lot of caffeine in it because I don't usually drink caffeine. So if I'm unusually perky, that's why. It's mojito flavor. You want some more?
No, thank you. I don't like
John won't drink it.
kombucha.
I gave him a sip and he will spit it out. Getting into the questions, the first question is, how would you invest a little more than 10K living in California? It's an RN student.
So I don't know if your state really matters, but how I would start investing $10,000, if all of my other bad debts were paid off, then I would start by just putting in probably a Roth IRA. That's what I would do personally. I'm just a huge fan of the Roth. That video is not just on this, but I could do a video all about Roth versus 401k. But I'd put 6,000 of that into your Roth to get started, unless you have another investment in mind that can make more than, say, 6 to 8%. But if you have no other investments in mind right now, get that money to work. Put 6,000 of it in a Roth, put 4,000 aside to an emergency fund. If you already have the emergency fund, take that $4,000 and just put it in a regular IRA.
And you can do that through Vanguard if you want to do it yourself. You can do it through Vanguard. You can do a targeted retirement fund depending on your age, so that you don't even have to pick the stocks yourself. So you'll be well diversified. Experts at Vanguard already picked it for you. Now I sound like I'm doing a Vanguard ad, which I'm not, but we just like Vanguard because we've used it for a long time.
Yes, and that's an excellent point. Don't just put your money with a brokerage like Vanguard or Fidelity. You have to then invest it in the market. So when you first give them your money, it sits in something called a money market fund, and that does absolutely nothing for you. It's just a low interest savings account. You then have to take that money and allocate it into the market. And if you don't know much about investing, like she said, I would just put it in a target date retirement fund, 2050, 2055, 2060, whenever you're going to retire, put it in there, set it and forget it, and add to it each year.
Yeah, we have a portion of our money in a target retirement fund, and then we self-invest the rest of it. So we kind of diversified that way, and John self-invests more than I do, and his account is growing way more than mine. So that's.
And by self-invest, what she means is that I pick my own stocks.
What would you tell a first-time investor in a seller/hot market?
A first-time investor in a hot market, which is right now. So what would I tell you right now? I'm not sure there is any right answer. I don't want to tell you to wait it out and wait for the market to cool off and then the market just keeps going up from here. You know what they say, the best time to plant a tree for shade was yesterday. And so I hate to tell you to wait. It would really depend on your age and your specific financial circumstances if I was going to advise that specifically. But if you're young enough, like my audience usually is, I would tell you just go ahead, get started and invest. Maybe stay away from really hot markets like San Francisco and New York. Those could be at the top, but they've been saying that for years now and they keep going up.
Mm-hmm. There's always deals to be found in any market. It just takes a lot of work sometimes. How did you get started? I want to start by answering this because I think the way that John got started into entrepreneurship, because this is not a very specific question, is because he doesn't like following other people's rules.
That's probably very accurate. I had several jobs at one time. I won't go into it on this video, but I didn't do very well. I wasn't a good employee. So I had to quickly learn that working for myself was probably the only way that I would ever make money happily. So at like age 20, 21-ish, when I started my first business, and I never looked back. I never worked for anybody since, and since then I've probably had, I don't know, 10 or 12 businesses now.
I definitely think entrepreneurship came natural to him. It doesn't come naturally to me. So that's why I can see the difference between us two. He doesn't like to follow other people's rules if they don't make sense to him. And also he just has like a different way of viewing things, and he's really good at figuring out efficient ways to do things. So when he would have a boss or somebody telling him to do something that didn't make sense and he knew there was a better way, I think that would really bother you.
Yeah, or at least I thought I knew a better way. I don't want to say like I always know a better way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's no right or wrong answer. Entrepreneurship or working for somebody, that's to each their own, and it's going to be personality based. I think entrepreneurs come off it a lot of times and they say, work for yourself or you suck. That's just not the case. I think there was a good analogy one time is being the number 10 guy at Facebook when they went public still was a multi-millionaire and did very well for themselves, and they were an employee. They didn't own the company, and they didn't have all the stress and worry they did like Mark Zuckerberg did. So being a number 5 or a number 10 or a number 20 guy at a company sometimes is not always a bad thing.
No, and I'm an employee, and I'm definitely less stressed than you. Even though my job is stressful, I feel like just working for yourself is just stressful 24/7. At least I'm stressed out a little bit at work, but then I go home and it's kind of separate. And my YouTube channel is a business, but I don't really consider that as like an entire thing that stresses me out because I just enjoy it and I don't have to do it.
No employees and stuff like that.
Yeah. Really quick, guys, before I ask the next question, make sure to like this video if you're enjoying it. Give it a thumbs up, please. We would really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Scenario, mid-20s with a bachelor's and 50K savings, higher ROI MBA versus investing. So I think these people are asking if they should go on to grad school or invest their own money and get an MBA, which is a master's in business administration for those that don't know.
So investing in school is not always a bad idea as long as it's a high ROI degree, such as yours. So we did the math with like Rihanna's school. It was $100,000 give or take for her to go back to school for 3 years. Now there's other things you have to consider in that, like the loss of income. She still worked a little bit during school, but really she lost her nursing salary over those 3 years, which is another $60,000 or $70,000 a year. So by the time you finish 3 years of school, if you were getting paid good before that, it could be $200,000, $300,000 plus, and that's not even including if you take out loans and the interest on top of that. So just do the math. And also really make sure you like what you're going to school for and you're not just doing it for the money. So for this specific question, do you really want to be what that master's is going to give you? Then sure, go for that because you already have the $50,000 saved up and it sounds like you could just go ahead and bootstrap school, which is even better. So yes, maybe that is a better ROI as long as you like what you're going to do and you're not just chasing the money. Otherwise, what you could do, I don't love this, but what you could do is leverage the $50,000 in an investment, like buy a home that you're going to live in on campus at school and house hack that with that $50,000 as a down payment and get the ROI from that investment of that property and take a loan out on the school part because your loan on the school part is maybe going to be paid back at 5% and you don't pay anything on that interest while you're in school. So you could borrow the money for 3 years, interest-free essentially because you don't pay it while you're in school, put that $50,000 to work while you're in school and make money with that $50,000. I don't advise this to many, in fact very few, but that is called leveraging your money and it is possible as long as you are super educated on money. Otherwise you should just take the $50,000 and pay for the school and that's a guaranteed ROI by not having that interest hang over you when you graduate.
Right, and it seems like this person's good at savings because they're in their mid-20s and already have $50,000 in savings. Also, why do you want your MBA? That's a question I would ask. Like, what do you plan to do with it? Do you just want it for a title? Do you want it because you want to be the CEO of a company and you can't get that job without it? You just need to think about what you want. If you're wanting to like start your own business and that's why you're getting your MBA, you could probably self-teach yourself the business part and then you wouldn't need the degree if you were trying to start your own thing. So
yeah, don't chase the money unless it's just a temporary sacrifice.
What are your PRs on the big 3 lifts? Squat, bench, and deadlift.
So if you don't follow me on Instagram, which is I'm sure where this question came from, I post my workouts in there from time to time. We own a gym. Fitness is a passion of mine. I've lifted for, 13, 14 years now, and we both competed. Raina's actually won first place in powerlifting and first place in CrossFit. She's a beast. I came in like third place, and I also came in like third or fourth place on stage. I did men's physique, but we won't ever show those photos. But anyway, what are my big three? So they're asking me my personal records on those. So bench is 320, deadlift is 500, and squat is only 315.
That sounds like a lot.
It's not. I have chicken legs, so it is what it is.
Should I put my money in a Roth IRA if I'm trying to save for higher education?
That's a tricky one.
He's wondering, like, basically if he should put it in the Roth while he's saving and then use it for his education.
Well, you can't. Yes, you can. All right, so you can invest money in a Roth and actually take that money back out for higher education. But I think, if you need that money right now, you're not going to, that's not how it really works. You're not going to just throw your money in a Roth and it doubles in a year. It could, but very unlikely. And then you use that money for education. What I would do is just take the money and use it for education now. And once you have that higher salary, then start investing in the Roth.
I agree with that. What is financially smartest when deciding to move into your first home? I think that the smartest thing is to make sure that you can very comfortably afford your mortgage, your insurance, all your utilities. You really need to incorporate all the bills when you're coming up with an estimate, making sure that you can very easily afford it. It's not going to stress you out. And making sure also that you are aware of what your long-term plans are so that you know what you're going to do with the house if you do decide to move on.
Agreed. Now that's the smartest way to budget for it. The smartest way to buy a house financially, in my opinion, is house hacking. If you don't know what house hacking is, I have plenty of videos on this, especially on my Instagram, but it's essentially buying more than one property or more than one door. So you buy like a duplex. You can do it with one house if you rent out the bedrooms, but it's usually buying a duplex and then renting one out while you live in the other one, and you rent the other one for more than your mortgage is total. So let's say your mortgage is $1,000, but you can rent out the other unit for $1,500. They pay that $1,500 to you each month. That completely covers your mortgage and then some, and now you have absolutely no mortgage, well, at least you don't have to pay for one, and you're making a little bit of cash flow, meanwhile paying down an asset. I think everybody should buy their first home by house hacking.
That's definitely true. And we wanted to do that, but there was no options in the area we wanted to live in here. So we basically bought a house that we would have equity in, and we're fixing it up.
Still have a bedroom we could rent out.
We do. We were talking about it actually because we live next to the hospital. And if you live near a hospital, travel nurses are great people to rent to.
We're not doing roommates again. We did roommates even while we were married because we were making sacrifices in our 20s like I was telling you guys about. We're not going back to roommates.
What is your opinion on credit cards and how do you use them? I think credit cards, if you have good self-control, are great tools to get rewards.
Correct. So if you're Dave Ramsey, turn this off and just keep on going. This never happened. But I am not against credit cards like Dave Ramsey is. Now I understand why he tells people to not use them, because most people don't know how to use them responsibly. But once you're educated and you know how to budget and you know to put those cards on auto pay, credit cards are a great tool to get free rewards back for like travel and cash back, and it's just basically free money. But you should only have them and use them once you're able to put them on auto pay and they're paid off every single month. The interest alone on a standard credit card is not worth using them like a debit card. Stay away from them if you cannot budget accordingly or have the self-control to not charge them and not pay them off at the end of every month.
Very true. Okay, this next one I'm going to choose for one of the Sour Strips winners.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we forgot about the Sour Strips winners. You better add 3 of them in a row.
This is Chanel Sosa, S-O-S-A. What is one subject each of you wish there was no budget for? Because I thought that I liked this question, so that's why I wanted to choose it for one. Okay, we might say the same thing.
What is the question one more time?
What is one thing that you wish you had no budget for? Like if you could spend unlimited money on anything, what would it be? And then her example was like food, cars, your home.
So the business side of me wants to say real estate.
I think she means personal expenses.
Okay, like a want.
Yeah, like a want that we have like on our budget every month.
So I think for me, well, it's not on our budget, but for me, something I've always wanted and keep slapping my own hand is a is a really nice car. And I'm talking about really nice. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, the ones that I like. So that would probably be it.
Mine would be travel because
Yeah, that's a good one too.
yeah, we don't have a like set budget for travel.
I'd take travel over the car. I would take
Yeah.
unlimited travel over the car.
I knew you would once I said that. I appreciate your frugality, but at what point in life are you going to enjoy your money?
So that's a huge misconception, especially for us and especially for our friends growing up. And now there was a point in time where I was cheap. I would unscrew the light bulbs. I would unplug the toaster when we left the house. I did all that. I went through that phase.
Wouldn't flush him and his friend Drew wouldn't flush their pee because it used water.
Yeah, you name it, like we did it. The only thing we didn't do was like split toilet paper. But I did the cheap thing, and now we are frugal, which means we are intentional with our spending. So a lot of people are like, well, you guys make all this money and have all this money, but you're ever going to enjoy life. And I think they say that because they don't see the cars or the big houses or the boats. But what you guys aren't adding up is the 16, 17 countries we've traveled to, and the 3 or 4 times we travel a year to the Caribbean, and all of that stuff. Like, that stuff is experiences that we pay for, and we don't charge any of that. That's all paid for by cash, and it gets expensive. I added up all of our travel one time, and it's a lot of money that we've spent on that stuff, and that's not necessarily cheap. Or even being frugal. That's stuff that we want. We would just rather do that stuff than have things. We can have the things too, but honestly, things give me anxiety. Like, even a car gives me anxiety because I'm someone who has to take care of my stuff and worry about it. So I had a nice car when I was 21, had a newer BMW, and I was constantly worried about it and really didn't enjoy it. So I would say to people that don't ever enjoy their money and don't have that happy medium, you need to find that. At the end of the day, it's just money, and you should use it to have those experiences, or to, even more importantly, to buy your freedom, to buy your time back. And so I think that's a little bit of a misconception to say, start enjoying your lives.
Yeah.
We do enjoy our lives.
Okay, I'm going to pick another Sour Strips winner. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, I cannot say this name, but Gleb Petukov 77. You'll know if this is your question, Gleb. Is your focus on gaining more free time or getting more capital?
Oh, so I just kind of touched on this on the last question.
Yeah.
More free time at this point.
Yeah.
More free time. Like, we were in earning mode for a long time and saving mode for a long time. And now I am starting to trim some of the businesses I'm involved in to buy some time back, especially now that we have baby girl, because she's growing up so freaking quickly. And I want to be here for as much of that as I possibly can. And so my goal right now, especially in 2021, is to consolidate some things and to buy some of my time back with some of that money that we have saved up or earned passively. And that's a huge goal of mine for 2021.
This is a good question. I found a good house to fix and flip. How would I go about finding an investor?
Oh, you want to raise private money is what that is. So I need to do a whole video on this. I will give you a quick answer and something that you can start on, but ask your friends and family first. You'd be amazed at who has money sitting around. I know a lot of people don't have money sitting around, or their family doesn't, but you would be amazed if like a grandfather or an aunt that got an inheritance or won a lawsuit or something and has a lot of money sitting in there, like 401k. So just put a plan together on paper, show them how it benefits them if they were to invest with you, and start with friends and family first. Now there is a catch-22 to that, in that you are borrowing from friends and family. So it will suck even more. You should never lose anybody any money, but if you lose your mom, her 401k, it's going to be even more awkward than if you lose a multi-millionaire's money, say $50,000. Both are just as important. I'm not discrediting anybody's money, but one is their livelihood and another one is just their money or extra money to them. Both
Yeah,
suck.
and you'll be taking care of your mom when she doesn't have a 401k and she's trying to be retired.
Yes, and then another tip after that is to start going to all your real estate investor meetups in your area. Go to meetup.com, type in REIN or just real estate investing, and go to these meetups and let people know what you're there to do. Start shaking hands, let them know you're serious and that you have projects, you can manage them, you have whatever background, show them your skills, and then get them to invest in you. But focus the conversation on what type of returns and what you are providing them, and that will bring you money.
Yes. How does it benefit them and how are you helping them? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to.
All right, so one more Sour Strips question to wrap this video up.
Okay, and this is a really good one because we get asked this question all the time. My coworkers are even confused and ask me this, and I know you get asked it. It's from Erica Santana. Did you ever get your real estate license? Are you a realtor? And people get really confused about this because you flip and sell houses.
Well, I think the misconception is people think you need your real estate license in order to buy and sell houses or flip houses, and you absolutely do not. It could help you. It could help you find deals. It could save you a ton of commission, of course, if you were buying and selling your own homes. But it's not something that I want to do right now. I do like it. I like the idea of it. I've sold some of our houses within the company just by having an open house. Sales is natural to me. I've done it for my whole life now, or at least my whole professional career. But we have an excellent realtor, if she's watching, in Marie McDavid, that sells all of our houses. So we buy and sell 40 houses a year, and she sells all of them outside of the 2 or 3 I'll take and do during the year. But you do not need your real estate license in order to flip houses or invest in houses.
And people get confused because you buy houses from auction and they don't realize that you can just buy a house. You don't have to be a realtor to just go buy a house.
All right, guys, well, that wraps up this video. If you're not following us yet on Instagram, at The Frugal Investor and at Rihanna Ferriel, go do that. We appreciate the support. And make sure you check out Rihanna's channel, again, at Rihanna Ferriel. She does vlogs of her life and talks about her nursing school journey and her CRNA journey. And it's an excellent vlog, much cooler than mine.
I like how you say at before the names.
You like that?
Yeah.
Hashtag. But anyway, guys, appreciate your support. If you like the video,
a thumbs up.
please hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next week on another video.